All sorts of speculations and concept renderings, supposedly showing the next iPhone 17 series, abound on social media. A few trustworthy insiders have also supported the allegations of a new design. On a daily basis, nevertheless, customers will also find importance in another upgrading scenario. Bloomberg claims that the basic iPhone 17 model might at last include a high refresh rate, also known as ProMotion display. The device is likely to get some small enhancements to its rear camera, as well as a ProMotion display, which allows for smoother scrolling and animation, said the source. High refresh rate displays are no longer a talking issue if you have been following the rival Android environment. Budget phones as cheap as $200 will have a 90Hz or 120Hz display. In the Apple ecosystem, you will have to pay at least $1,000 to enjoy that benefit on an iPhone or an iPad. Indeed, Apple has come under plenty of criticism. Indeed, there is clear difference, particularly when you go from a 90Hz panel to a 90Hz or 120Hz screen. Once you've made the step to a 90Hz display, the subsequent numbers at 120Hz, 144Hz, or even the 165Hz panels on one of Asus ROG line smartphones. An argument can be made that your phone interactions will appear quite great operating on a 60Hz display, particularly if it's an iPhone. Digital Trends Mark Jansen detailed his experience of going back to 60Hz screen on the iPhone 15 and not really missing the high refresh rate ease. The scenario was not too different with the iPhone 16. You see, an extra dash of fluidity with screen interactions is a nice improvement, but unexpected stutters and snags undermine that upgrading, particularly on non-Pixel Android phones. Apple, on the other hand, does a superb job of optimizing the UI interactions, from touch transitions to animations. That, however, doesn't imply at $800, iPhone doesn't need a high refresh rate screen. If it didn't important to customers, Apple wouldn't restrict the ProMotion innovation, giving a 120Hz peak refresh rate to the costly Pro iPhones and iPads. There's a distinct visual reward to getting served. It was simply a question of cost cutting from Apple, until the supply chain pulls down the cost of 120Hz screens to such a degree that Apple doesn't feel the strain on its profit margins. In 2025, the situation looks to have turned in Apple's favor, clearing the path for high refresh rate panel on iPhones. The iPhone 17 is roughly 6 months from release, however, it may be worth putting up a year for the next version if you can. The Analyst Ming-Chi Kuo has not only doubled down on his forecast from 6 months ago that Apple would introduce 2nm CPUs for the iPhone 18 Pro, but stated that normal models may now also be in line for the update. Reiterating my prediction from 6 months ago, the two H26 new iPhones, iPhone 18, will be powered by TSMC 2nm chips, he said on X. While he indicates this is a reiteration of the preceding message, it's significantly different. In September, he said, "Due Apple cost considerations, not all new iPhone 18 models may be equipped with a 2nm processor." That qualifier isn't repeated here, implying that even the basic iPhone 18 would benefit from the update, something other experts have already anticipated. Assuming we're not reading too much into what is undoubtedly an unclear language, the explanation for this could be disclosed in the second section of the video. Worth noting, TSMC 2nm R and D trial yields reached 60 to 70% 3 months ago, and they're now well above that, Kuo noted. Due to cost concerns, not all new iPhone 18 models may be equipped with a 2nm chip. In this context, yield refers to the fraction of functional chips utilized per silicon wafer. A greater quantity is more cost-effective, for obvious reasons, and in the past, hardware from different businesses has been delayed owing to low yields. That doesn't seem like it will be an issue with the A20 processor. While purchasers may still anticipate a performance improvement from newer chips produced using the same manufacturing method, lowering the size makes things much simpler. The smaller the nanometer number, the closer packed the transistors, suggesting quicker signal travel for faster performance and more efficiency. This doesn't imply that the iPhone 17 will be worth skipping. The iPhone 17 Pro sounds like a good advance over the iPhone 16 Pro, with a number of noteworthy sound upgrades. If current reports are to be believed, you can anticipate a striking new design to accompany a quicker CPU with improved performance under duress, more RAM, a new 48 megapixels telephoto lens, better selfies, and faster charging. We'll find out whether they are real in September, when the iPhone 17 family is announced, presumably with the Apple Watch 11. Again, another makeup have appeared online. These, according to the photographs, the mock-ups of iPhone 17, iPhone 17 Air, iPhone 17 Pro, and iPhone 17 Pro Max are built of metal in line with exact CAD models. Similar mock-ups are used by accessory makers to build protective cases, glass protectors, and films. A characteristic of the forthcoming generation will be a big design shift, which will be the company's first such move in many years. According to reports, the iPhone 17 Air will become the thinnest handset in Apple's range owing to a body thickness of 5.5 millimeters. At the same time, the device's length and breadth measurements will be identical to the top iPhone 17 Pro Max model, 163 millimeters and 77.6 millimeters respectively. Both variants are also said to sport 6.9-inch panels with minimum bezels. The introduction of the iPhone 17 series devices is planned in September 2025. The smartphones will have updated Apple A19 and A19 Pro CPUs depending on the model. The next iPhone 17 Air is reported to come equipped with Apple's C1 modem, identical to the iPhone 16e. While this modem is efficient, it doesn't support M-Wave 5G, which means it may not always give the quickest speeds. Meanwhile, the iPhone 17 Pro Max is likely to continue employing Qualcomm's 5G modem, which should deliver quicker and more stable connection. When examining the iPhone 17 Air versus iPhone 17 Pro Max, this difference in modem technology might be a crucial consideration for connectivity-focused customers. The speculation about the iPhone 17 Air is that it may enter the market with a price tag of roughly $900, matching with the iPhone 16 Plus pricing. Based on historical price patterns, the iPhone 17 Pro Max is projected to start at $1,199 in the US. Is the iPhone 17 Air hinting at a foldable iPhone in our future? Apple's fixation with making gadgets very compact could simply be a clue that they're experimenting with ideas for a foldable iPhone, which could reach the market as soon as 2026. Industry experts say this shift in materials and form might pave the way for an Apple flip. Next, Apple is facing yet another significant campaign in Europe that might open some of the trademark elements of its ecosystem. The European Commission has now specified a handful of broad interoperability requirements that Apple must implement in order to conform with the Digital Markets Act standards. These metrics encompass a total of 9 connection capabilities accessible on iPhones, including everything from smartwatches to headphones. The goal is to offer developers access to the same set of sophisticated capabilities, such as immersive alerts on watches and easy pairing for peripherals, that is reserved to Apple's own devices. The specification decisions are legally binding, states the regulatory authority, adding that interoperability is key to opening up new possibilities for third parties to develop innovative products and services on Apple's gatekeeper platforms. The main notion is that applications and third-party items may be utilized with the same degree of functional engagement and seamlessness as Apple's own products. To that aim, Apple will have to give external access for the stack that brings technologies like as AirDrop and AirPlay to life. Developers will be able to integrate alternative solutions to Apple's AirDrop and AirPlay services on the iPhone. Simply said, developers will be permitted to construct a high-bandwidth peer-to-peer Wi-Fi connection between an Apple and a third-party device to facilitate data transmission. The EU said Apple will also have to permit short-range wireless file transfers for third-party applications and services. The regulatory body plainly notes that these provisions will enable developers to construct alternatives to AirDrop, as well as media casting services that potentially take on AirPlay. Apple has also been required to provide NFC chip access in read and write modes, and urged to implement these functions by 2026. Doing so would allow peripherals like as wrist-worn gadgets and rings to enable contactless payments without mandatorily having an iPhone on them. The connection guidelines also apply to automated pairing with neighboring devices. When the user brings a new headset near the iPhone, it should be able to pair immediately through a simple and streamlined procedure, independently of whether the headset is an Apple product or a third-party brand, states the agency. Apple has been urged to enable these interoperability capabilities without levying any additional price on developers and offering them timely and non-preferential access to all the required software tools and documentation assistance. Apple has opposed the amendments and may appeal them in court. Today's decisions wrap us in red tape, slowing down Apple's ability to innovate for users in Europe and forcing us to give away our new features for free to companies who don't have to play by the same rules, Apple said in a statement shared with Reuters. Not so long ago, the Digital Markets Act opened the doors for alternative app shops for the iPhone in the EU market. This was followed by considerable relaxations to payment restrictions concerning in-app transactions. However, the advantages of these improvements are confined to the EU market. So, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more tech news. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.